Okay, so um, my project is called it has a shortened word which is WAF, which means Wild at Heart Foundation, and then Wild at Heart Foundation Dog Training. So my project is to educate and raise awareness for the Wild at Heart charity, as they're a charity who work rescuing stray dogs, and I wanted to create training videos for them so that it would help the people who follow them and also raise awareness to other people. So today we will just be talking about the process of getting in contact with them, how I planned out my project, and how actually all the research I did and all the pre-production helped me in the filming process and post-production. So here is my proposal. So first part of my proposal is my rationale, where I talk about what I've learnt in Unit 3, what I've learnt newly, and also some stuff that I've brushed up better on. And then I go on to my project concept. So as you can see here, I talk about how I talk about the charity, I give a bit of an explanation as to who they are, and I talk about my main target audience, which would be first-time dog owners and those unclear of how to train their dogs. The reason I said this is just because a lot of people who are first-time dog owners probably are looking for quick, short videos to help them with it. And that's just because even if I just think it would be very helpful. I spoke to a charity about this, how it would be helpful for first-time dog owners, just because they have less knowledge as more experienced dog owners. And I talk about the length of my videos, so I say how I want my videos to be 1 minute long, and that will add up to 5 minutes, which changed as we ended up filming 12 videos, some ranging from 1 minute, some to 5 minutes. However, I did keep to the fact that some of the videos I wanted to create was recall tricks, which we did. We did a lot of tricks, recall, sit, stay, calm, and so that was so now I have those videos up. And I also talk about how this will eventually, hopefully, as then I thought it, how eventually it will be going on the charity's YouTube channel. So I also talk about how I want to educate my target audience and raise awareness of the Wild at Heart Foundation. So I talk about the location. It wasn't shot outside just because of the fact that the weather got in the way with it, so that has changed. And I talk about shooting days and similar products. And similar products you can see more in my pitch and research template. So then it comes to my evaluation. I talk about how I want to evaluate my work, how I will evaluate my work, and what types of evaluation I will receive. So I want to talk to teachers. As I said, I want to talk to teachers, dog owners, and the charity themselves. I did send out a questionnaire to the contributors and the two main workers of the charity for them to answer, to get feedback from them. Hopefully, if they post it on their YouTube channel, as I'm still unaware if they will, I will receive feedback from that, and I have received feedback from my tutors. So that is just all in my research template and on other pieces of work. I also said how I want to evaluate this in my reflective journal, which I've done. I evaluated how good I thought it was, if it worked, if it didn't work, what went wrong, and how I fixed it. Okay, and here's just similar products, so Harvard referencing my similar products, which I actually need to change. Okay, so if we can go on to my schedule now, so I go on to my schedule. So here's my complete schedule. I found the schedule very helpful just because it helped me because I have trouble with reflective journals sometimes, just forgetting to write them for maybe 2 or 3 days. Every day I would fill in the schedule just so I'd have a rough idea of what I'd done. So a main title as to the main thing I did in that day, and then just some bullet points to explain a bit further what I did and what I need to do next. So I found it very helpful as it helped me link up my reflective journals and keep them up to date and correct. And I also found it helpful just because I could see clear structured what I had done. So you can see here I would put in green what I have done and what I haven't done. Okay, so now if we go on to the pitch. So here is my pitch video. It's just me talking about my pitch and why I chose to do some of my stuff and how it has actually helped me. So here again is my schedule in full, and here are some of my similar products. This is my first similar product, which is the Dog Whisperer. In my pitch I talk about it in more detail, but just looking at similar products helped me a lot because it helped me understand what I wanted from my project, what I wanted it to look like, what I wanted it to sound like, and sort of from each of the similar products I get a different feeling from each of them. So I wanted to decide what I wanted my audience to feel, how I wanted to portray the dog training and the charity in these videos. And in my pitch I said that this is probably Dogs Trust training videos was probably my favourite one, so that's one I based my actual project around. But I found that really helpful just because it helped me understand what a lot of dog training videos look like, what you need to give to your audience and what other people don't like. Okay, so here is my character profile. I created a character profile and I talk about this in my pitch. I created a character profile and I found it very helpful because it helped me understand my audience on a personal level more as to who they are, what they do, how much time they have. So do they have enough time to go see a trainer? Maybe they don't. Maybe short snappy videos, which is one thing I'm trying to do with these videos, in creating them may be more helpful to them. So it just helps me understand how I should structure my project to fit my perfect person, so my perfect target audience. Okay, so if we look at, I here speak about target audience and I speak about Generation X and Z, and how I want I mainly want to focus on Generation Z just because of the fact that I want to focus on Generation X just because of the fact that I feel like as they are older they may be more financially stable and able to take care of a dog, whereas obviously someone from Generation X can own a dog, but it's more likely that it will be a family dog rather than their own. And I talk about just why I've chose my primary and secondary audience and who these people are and what I'm trying to do with my video to help them in a way, so how I'm trying to target them with my videos. I found looking into target audience helpful because it just helped me because similar products help me understand what I wanted my videos to look like. So in regards to camera angles, lighting, and stage, like props, stage, etc. Whereas looking into target audience helped me understand what people want to see, because I don't want to waste my time creating a video and not looking into target audience, and then whoever I send it out to, who would be my target audience, wouldn't like it. Then it's just a waste of time. So looking into my target audience helped me to just know sort of what would benefit them more, what would engage them more. Okay, so now if we go on to, I talk about Channel 4 target audience, and I talk about this in my pitch in more detail as I've said before, but I say I looked into a PDF folder file, just on lots of Channel 4 target audience research with lots of statistics, and I chose this one mainly because as I said in my pitch, it just helps me a lot to it's a very good platform for a dog series, so I feel it would be best to put it on there, seeing as my target audience also watch a lot of these shows. But I found this helpful just because of the fact that it gives you a bigger picture. So obviously we are not, my project isn't going to be a big thing, but imagining it in a situation where it may be put on TV just helps me a lot, because it makes me I don't really know how to explain, but it makes me understand like the bigger picture. So it may be what channel would I want it to go on to? Channel 4, because it's a dog friendly channel, so it helps me understand, like, with looking into the series on Channel 4, so The Secret Life of Dogs, Dogs Alone, and Dogs Behaving Badly, looking into all of those series help me understand what people like and don't like in dog videos. that makes sense. So here is my primary research, and I won't play that just because it's in my pitch, and my primary research questionnaire. So I sent out a questionnaire, but I didn't get a lot of responses for it, just because of the fact, well, I sent it out to around about 15 people, but I only got about 4 or 5 responses, and it was just it was a problem for me, and I talk about this in my problem solving log, just because I didn't feel like the answers I got were very reliable to use as research, and I did put it out on social media and dog pet forums after that, but still got no responses. Questionnaires help me though. I feel like it's a good way to get quick information and help you sculpt your project, and that's what I try to do with this. I try to use it to make my project and my training videos sort of fitted for everyone. So my main target audience and then my secondary target audience. And here I talk about the questions I asked in my primary research questionnaire and why I asked them. And so if we go on to secondary research, here's just some of the information about Wild at Heart, because I wanted to look into it properly, just so I could, because I know of Wild at Heart, but I don't, well, I do know quite a lot of about Wild at Heart, but I want to know all the information just in case I'm ever questioned about it, that I can give a good response and not, give the wrong response. And I talk about how I looked at a lot of pet forums, and the reason I did this is just because I wanted to see what the public were looking for, like what training problems did their dogs have, and a lot of them seemed to be general, like recalls. That's something I wanted to focus on, and it just helped me, because if obviously more people are going to watch this than just my primary or my primary target audience, so I wanted the people who aren't my main core people to target to have some sort of not as some sort of connection with the training video. So if I see a lot of people want recall videos, then I will do a recall video. And here's my mood boards. I did one on just training itself, as I wanted to show show what type of training I would be using. So there's positive training, there's negative training, there's all different types of training, but mainly Wild at Heart focus on positive rewarding. And I just got I got some pictures of people from the charity. I got a picture of David and his dogs, and then different uses of training and how it can work, and just how I want my project to feel. So obviously my training videos are going to have a sort of atmosphere. If it was a negative training, it'll obviously have a different atmosphere to positive training. So I wanted to portray that through a mood board, so I could understand how I can use that in my dog training videos. And then again, I did a mood board on Wild at Heart, just because I wanted to show what the deeper side of Wild at Heart, because in the training mood boards it's sort of like happy, sort of, yeah, that's it, it's happy, it's just like, oh, dog's done something, oh, just teach it to not and give it a trick. Whereas like the Wild at Heart have a not bad side at all to them, it's just they go deeper into where a lot of people don't want to go. So puppy farms, stray dogs, injured dogs, dogs that aren't loved, dogs that are just left behind. So I wanted to show a lot of that, and how the charity supports the people who work with them and tries to rescue them. So I wanted to get that feeling over, so I could put that into my videos, because one of the main things I said I wanted to do is to educate people on Wild at Heart, so I need to have this information to put into the videos. Okay, so if we go down again, this is just why I'm talking about again why I chose the mood boards. And then I talk about my equipment and just location. So now if we go on to the script, so here's my script. So if we look at my script, I did 3 different scripts for 3 different videos, and I found this helpful just because it gave me an understanding, like a plan before I go into the actual filming process and production of the dog training videos, as to a general like rough edit in my head, like a pre-made rough edit in my head as to what I wanted it to look like, just so I didn't go in there blind, sort of this kind of works in hand with the script as well, because no, sorry, this is how it works in hand with the shot list as well. Just because with the shot list, I can imagine the images, like the actual camera angles I'm going to take and how it's going to look. And with the script, I can sort of understand what the actual, what the audio will be in it and how it will sound and the flow of it. Because I want it to flow all in one, so it goes from step-by-step process to tips and to what not to do. That's like my free part of each training video. So using this helped me understand how it would flow and if it would work. Okay, so now if we go to FMP and we go to my research. So now if we go into primary research, I have some primary research here, and these are just the questions I did for these are questions I created for my Vox Pops and focus groups, which I said I would conduct in my proposal, and I talk about them further in my research template as to why I chose those questions. I just found it helpful to plan out the questions before going in, just because I didn't want to ask questions off the top of my head in case they ended up being unnecessary. Okay, so I have my primary and secondary research Vox Pops and focus group, but I don't want to go into that right now just because it's in my pitch, I believe. So now if we go back out and go into secondary research. So secondary research, I have some research here. I got a lot of resources given to me by Nadine about the charity in regards to what they do, what their future plan is, so what they want to do in the next 5 years, how they help, and the adoption process. But here I did some of my own research on the trainer, David Drew, before meeting him, just so I could understand what his methods were, how we could incorporate some of his methods and Wild at Heart's methods into the training videos, to sort of pairing them together. And also what a lot of people thought of him, because obviously I have faith in the charity themselves, as I personally know the co-founder, to pick a good behaviourist and trainer. But at the same time, I just wanted to know what the actual public thought of him as a trainer themselves. So I got a lot of reviews and put them into this file. And I just found that helpful because it helped me sort of know sort of how he thought and his methods with dogs before I actually met him. Okay, and just there's a lot of so operational handbook and booklet. So here's the booklet, and it just talks about helping animals, how it all began, what we do, and our mission. And I found this helpful just because I wanted I wanted to include Wild at Heart, but at the same time I didn't want to waffle on about the charity just because I feel like that wouldn't be engaging for the audience. So I wanted to have like a main slogan to say at the end or the start of every video, so it would stick in people's heads and then they'd look into Wild at Heart because of that. And looking at the booklet, we decided on compassionately reducing the world's 600 million stray dog population, just because this is short and sweet and it sums up what Wild at Heart are doing in one sentence. Okay, so now if we go to visual production, again I have my mood boards, and I have this is also my research template, but it's discussing the visual research and why how it helped me with my idea of how I could use it in my videos. So I talk about similar products and what I liked about them, so camera angles and lighting. And then here's some stuff on one of the co-founders, Nikki's charity, and I talk about how this also helps me understand the history of Wild at Heart because it all started up with her. Yes. So now if we go on to, give me a second. So now if we go on to my research template, which is here. So I found the research template very helpful just because it was well structured. For me, I did find it helpful just because it was very well structured for me. It broke down everything I needed to do and every aspect of research I needed to do to help me make this project work, just because I've always had trouble with researching before I do something, I go headfirst into a lot of things, and obviously that's not a good idea. So seeing this helped me understand what I have done, what I haven't done, and also how in past projects I've missed out all this stuff, and it's caused me to have problems with filming. So I talk about my questionnaire again, as I did in my pitch, and I talk about my focus group, as I said I did, and here's me discussing my Voxpop and focus group questions. And then I found tutor feedback just very helpful, because I sometimes go off in my brain a bit, so I know I have work to do, but I don't know where to start, or I will, as I speak about this in my reflective journal a lot, I will start a piece of work and leave it half finished, and do that with a lot of work. And just having these sit downs with tutors helped a lot, because it helped me understand like what I was doing wrong. So I spoke with Nick about how there was a lot of things that I wasn't finishing, or I was half finishing, and it meant that I was behind on each piece, but it added up to a lot of work. And also it helped me because it was an outsider view, because I feel like when I'm making something, I kind of, even if I do get like primary research, I don't speak to anyone physically about it. So having an outsider view on my work and someone telling me what I haven't done and why I need to do it is very helpful. Okay, so I just here I have the my actual conversations with my contributors, and I talk about the decisions we made and why we did it and how it's actually helped me. So I said how Alicia sent me the Dogs Trust training videos, which was one of my similar products, which I found very helpful and ended up using as my main video to base my project around. And then I talk about so historical research, which, to be honest, if I didn't have this research template, I wouldn't think of even writing about it, but it helped a lot, because it helped me understand why dogs need to be trained now and how they have come to be trained. And a lot of it talks about how they have been trained so much that they rely on humans. So separation anxiety is a big thing that a lot of dogs have, and that is really good because it links to Wild at Heart, and a lot of dogs that come that are rescued have separation anxiety. So that's one of the main things I wanted to focus on in my training videos. Again, I talked about that there's different types of training. So one political thing I talk about is shock collars and my own opinion on it, and also Wild at Heart's opinion on it. Again, I talk about my target audience and why I chose them to be my target audience. And here is my character profile, sorry. And then there's just a few statistics I look at to do with Google Trends, and how I can use that to actually prove my point that a lot of dogs, that training videos would be helpful, because there's no point in creating training videos if they're not actually going to be helpful to my primary and secondary target audience. So it shows that a lot of people just over the years are wanting more dogs, because people are searching up dogs. And then a lot of people, where is it? Let me just find it. So a lot of people are searching up dog training. Here, I'll just blow this up a bit just so you can see it. Sorry, this is the one. So here you can see over the years there's been spikes in people searching up dog training, and I think that just if there was online videos that were free, why wouldn't people use them to train their dog? So again, I talk about my similar products in a bit more detail, and then dog forums that I used, and here's my mood boards and production research. So I created a budget. I found the budget very helpful, just because as like doing research into Channel 4, it's a more real life situation. Like if I do decide to go into the media sector, this is something I'm going to have to do. This is if I ever want to be a producer or a director, this is something I'm going to have to do. So it's just showing me what work I'm going to have to put in real life situations. So budgeting money to work to get producers, scriptwriter, actors, all the stuff that at the moment we don't need because we're not making like a blockbuster film, but it's just helpful to understand the process of making an important film. Okay, so here is just me talking about my research again. Okay, so now we go on to the problem solving log. That is not the right one. Here, no, not the right one. Hang on. Oh, sorry. I just realised I have a folder for my problem solving log. Secretary problem. I found the problem solving log very helpful just because it helped me, especially with the potential problems, it helped me pre-prepare for any problems that I thought I would have during this process. So as I say here, a lot of them actually happened as well, which was quite funny. So I guess I wasn't that prepared for these problems. So here I talk about power, battery may die, and I say a way to solve this problem is to bring a spare battery when filming and bring a charger for the camera. Unfortunately, we were unable to do this, so in my actual problems that happened, I talk about, where is it? Sorry, let me just find it. Yeah, so here I talk about power. I say we were unable to get no spare batteries for the cameras, which led to us having to turn off the cameras multiple times, even like the second we stopped filming a video, so we didn't have any extra footage, which became a problem in the editing process. But I just found it good because there were quite a few problems that I avoided. For example, equipment. I booked equipment, I think 3 weeks in advance to make sure I had equipment and good equipment for filming. Okay, so now if we go on to production paperwork, I sent out actor and location agreement and contributor release forms to my contributors, which are Alicia and Nadine, as you can see here, and they each signed them, which you can see. Hang on, this is not the right one. I think it might be in shared with me, possibly. Okay, so I need to actually find that and put it in here. Is this one signed? Yeah, so here, this one is signed by Nadine, and you can see her digital signature, and I just, I used a template, but I adapted it to fit my actual project, and I talked about my budget in my research template, and here is my shot list. So my short list, as I said, worked hand in hand with my script. It just helped me get a good understanding of what I was going to do and how I was going to do it, just because I feel like there's no point going into filming that shot list because it just takes up a lot of time because you're having to think of camera angles and how you're going to do it, whereas you just go in with this, you say we're doing this, this and this, and it all just runs smoothly because you've planned it so meticulously before. And I went into detail of I went into detail of why I wanted some of these shots. So because I wanted the viewers to be engaged, I wanted different angles. So I didn't want it to just be one long running angle for more than maybe 15 seconds, just because I feel like as an audience, as a viewer myself, I would probably get bored of it. I want to see a lot of stuff happening. I want to see close-ups so I can actually understand how the dog is learning and the process of it and what they actually need to do to be rewarded for the actual trick. Okay, so I also made a call sheet, and okay, that's not the right one. Here's the right one. I found the call sheet very helpful just because I had someone else coming to film. I had 2 people coming to film with me, so the contributor Alicia and also a friend of mine, and this helped me just because it's a good way to put down people's emails, numbers, and people's names, emails, and numbers, just so that there's no problem with getting in contact with people, finding out where they are, and knowing if they'll be available, and also it's just a more formal way rather than sending a text. It's just easy, download, read it, understand what's happening, and also it helped as I for my friend, as Alicia already knew how to get there for my friend. I showed how he could get there from his house to the actual place, and he said he found it helpful just because, you know, it shows clearly what people are doing, when they need to be there, and how to get in contact with anyone that they need to know. And it just helped me as well because I understood who was doing what and what I needed to be in charge of. Okay, and I also made a location recce. Location recce was helpful because for me, location recces are always helpful just because it gives me a clear idea of where I'm filming and what I need. So there's parking, because in the end we ended up driving there. Well, me and Alicia did, so I knew there was parking, there was toilets, so there was just no problem. So I knew there was space for equipment, I knew there was parking, I knew there was toilets, I knew when it was available, just so that we weren't sort of, you know, staying past our time or trespassing, etc. Okay, so now, one second. Okay, so now if we go into my reflective journal, which is in another folder, a separate folder here, and find a major project. I find my reflective journal very helpful. A lot of people at the start, even I, at the start of being introduced to reflective journals, I didn't understand the point of them, but now it's a good way of evaluating, because I did have a long running problem of only being descriptive in my reflective journals, which I know isn't the point of reflective journals, it's in the name to reflect. But now I think I've got the hang of actually reflecting on what I think I have done good. There's quite a few things I have, especially problem solving. I think I'm very good at handling, and other stuff where, as my weaknesses, were to do with cameras and camera angles and filming in general. So it's just a way of reflecting on what I've done in the week, how some things may have gone wrong, some things may have gone right, and what I need to do next. And also just a lot of it has been teaching me how to improve on myself. So actually discussing how I feel about this, how I feel about maybe messing up filming and camera angles, and if I feel good about actually being a good problem solver. So I think it's just a good way for me to it's for me to have a learning process, to learn, rather than just think, oh, I did that wrong. Okay, no, why did I did that wrong? How can I improve next time? Is there any way I can change this? Do I need to do something about myself, or was it just there was some fault on the way? Okay, so overall, if we go back onto my actual project. Overall, I think that this project in itself could have been successful. I feel like up to the filming process, I did very well in researching and actually, except for my primary research questionnaire, getting responses um, as to what I wanted from people. So, but then when it came to the filming process, I think that I struggled quite a lot. Most of it was my own fault. There was a faulty tripod, but other than that, my filming skills weren't up to par, and it does frustrate me a lot because I had planned this out. I knew what was happening. I just think I went into that filming session just a bit confused and stressed out. So a lot of it came out quite bad, and then in the editing process that stressed me out more, because usually I'm a fast editor, but obviously I wanted to spend time on this one because it's my final project and I wanted to make it look nice. But at the same time I knew that I was on one video for too long, just because I had to cut out so much stuff and there was a lot of zooming in and zooming out that I had to cover with cutaways, and it just really put a strain on me because I had this picture in my head that I wanted how I wanted it to look like, and it wasn't looking like that. But I think there were a lot of problems on the way that I was good at overcoming and solving, because I'm not just one person to like face a problem and just push the problem away. I faced a problem and I just sorted it, just because otherwise it's going to build up and build up and build up and then become even bigger of a problem. But overall, I feel, as I said, it could have been better in the filming process, but I feel like my pre-production was good and I enjoyed this project. I really did. And I do hope that they use my videos on their YouTube channel, just because I did put a lot of effort into it. It's just my downfall was filming. Hang on, I forgot to talk about the filming process. Let me talk about the filming process. Well, so as I said, the filming process wasn't that great. We were given a short amount of time and there was always problems with Ava. I wasn't free, Alicia wasn't free, or David wasn't free. So we ended up, Alicia went on holiday for about 2.5 weeks. So by the start of May, she came back and asked to film, but by that time it was too late to refilm again, which stressed me out quite a lot. But at the same time, it was also my fault. I should have got the research and pre-production done earlier so we could fit in all this filming before. And the fact that David was only free for 2 hours on a Thursday was a big problem, but that's just because he's a busy guy, he's a dog trainer. So yeah. And I think the editing process was stressful, as I said, but it was also a learning curve for me because I learned a lot of things that I didn't know how to do in Final Cut Pro before. And also with the new Final Cut, it took a long time for me to understand. That's why I think it added on to my editing time. Okay, so that is my project to do with the Wild at Heart Foundation dog training videos. I hope you enjoyed.